السيد الرئيس
Mr. President, Your Excellency, the Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to join you today in this important meeting. I would especially thank you, Mr. President, for holding and presiding over this ministerial meeting. I would also like to express the gratitude of the State of Palestine to the Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Antonio Guterres, for his wise leadership of this organization, especially given the catastrophe that is currently happening in the Gaza Strip. I would also like to thank Algeria for placing the Palestinian cause as a priority on the agenda of the Security Council, including the membership of the State of Palestine in the United Nations. We would also like to express our thanks and gratitude to the countries that recognize the State of Palestine and the peoples of the world that believe in our right to self-determination in our land, the State of Palestine. We also thank the countries that developed their relations and that cooperated with us. And we do hope that these countries will recognize the State of Palestine as soon as possible, based on the principle of sovereign equality between nations and mutual respect. We also renew our gratitude to all countries that supported Palestine receiving the status of observer state, and the states that called on the Security Council to look into and consider the full membership of the State of Palestine in the UN. We also thank Arab countries and the non-aligned movement for joining this request based on the Riyadh summit. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, the plight of the Palestinian people has started over a century ago and is still ongoing. The Palestinian people was the victim of events and international resolutions and decisions that were outside of their control. The Palestinian people is the victim of a history that is not of their making. This people has suffered a catastrophe in 1948 and the Israeli occupation since 1967. We are still longing to practice our right to self-determination, to live in freedom, security, and peace in an independent state similar to other countries around the world. We have made and continue to make great sacrifices to achieve this goal. Since 1988, the Palestinian leadership, represented by the PLO, the only legitimate representative of the Palestinian people, the Palestinian leadership has showed preparedness to close the chapter of conflict and sit at the negotiations table to find a just, comprehensive, and permanent solution for the Palestinian question. In this regard, we have made every possible genuine effort. We have made unimaginable historic concessions in order to achieve a peace that is based on the two-state solution, to guarantee the establishment of an independent Palestinian state that is sovereign along the lines of June 4, 1967, with East Jerusalem as its capital, in addition to resolving the issue of Palestinian refugees based on Resolution 194, a Palestinian state that lives with its neighbors in security and peace. Since 1993, the Palestinian leadership chose the path of negotiations, hoping that these negotiations will result in the desired solution. The international community supported the principle of the two-state solutions, and this position culminated in accepting the State of Palestine as an observer member in the General Assembly of the United Nations in 2016. And since then, the State of Palestine has sought and has called on the world to accept it as a full member of the United Nations, because we believe that an international resolution of this regard will protect the two-state solution and will reflect the Palestinian people's legitimate right to an independent state. However, unfortunately, some try to hinder the adoption of this resolution under weak pretenses. Granting Palestine full membership at the United Nations will lift some of the historic injustice that succeeding Palestinian generations have been subjected to. It will open wide prospects before a true peace based on justice, a peace that the countries and the peoples of the region will enjoy. In this regard, it is our right to wonder, how could grant and recognize Palestine, the State of Palestine, how could granting the State of Palestine full membership at the United Nations, similar to other countries around the world, how could this damage the prospects of peace between Palestinians and Israelis? How could this recognition and this membership harm international peace and security? This question, ladies and gentlemen, we ask it specifically to the United States and other countries that oppose granting the State of Palestine full membership at a time when they recognize Israel, which is the other party in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and has granted Israel full membership at the United Nations. And to those who say that recognizing the Palestinian state must happen through negotiations and not through a UN resolution, we wonder, once again, how was the State of Israel established? How was it recognized? Wasn't that through a UN resolution, which is Resolution 181? Although Israel did not honor the conditions to accept its membership at the United Nations, and that is implementing Resolutions 181 and 194. Such a decision to grant the State of Palestine full membership will be an important pillar to achieve peace in our region, because the Palestinian-Israeli conflict in its different dimensions now goes beyond the borders of Palestine and Israel and impacts other regions in the Middle East and around the world. Therefore, we believe that it is high time for the Security Council to shoulder its historic responsibility to give justice to the Palestinian people by adopting a resolution to accept Palestine as a full member of the United Nations. Those who are trying to disrupt and hinder the adoption of such a resolution, they are not helping the prospects of peace between Palestinians and Israelis and the prospects for peace in the Middle East in general. This resolution naturally will not be the alternative for serious political negotiations that are time-bound to implement the two-state solution or relevant Security Council and GA resolutions, and to resolve what is the pending issues between Palestinians and Israelis. However, this resolution will grant hope to the Palestinian people, hope for a decent life within an independent state. After this hope has dissipated over the past years because of the intransigence of the Israeli government that has rejected this solution publicly and blatantly, especially following the destructive war against the Gaza Strip and after the reoccupation of the Gaza Strip by Israel. In this regard, the State of Palestine would like to express its thanks to all the countries that recognize the State of Palestine and sincerely and seriously supported granting the State of Palestine full membership in this international organization. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past 12 years, after Palestine was granted observer status at the General Assembly, the State of Palestine played a positive and constructive role in your august organization. So we do hope you will give us the opportunity to become an integral part of the international community that is working to achieve international peace and security. Mr. President, today we are asking for full membership for the State of Palestine at the United Nations. However, this does not mean that we forgot what is happening in the Gaza Strip. This comprehensive, destructive war waged by Israel against our people over the past 6 months. It has claimed the lives of over 35,000 Palestinians. 80,000 were wounded, mostly women, children, and the elderly. They have destroyed most vital facilities in the Gaza Strip. They've destroyed homes, routes, hospitals, schools, universities, mosques, churches, water and energy supplies. They have displaced the majority of the residents of the Strip. The majority of the Strip is now they cannot live there anymore because it was destroyed. Gaza will come back. What will be destroyed is the occupation. The attacks of the Israeli army continues. They continue to terrorize our people in different cities, villages, and camps in the West Bank and in Jerusalem. It is high time for this war and for these attacks to stop. It is high time for this occupation to end. Your august council, we call on you today more than ever to swiftly intervene and take the necessary measures to compel Israel to put an end to its aggression, to allow the delivery of humanitarian assistance to a starving people, to immediately withdraw from the Gaza Strip, to comply with international law and the resolutions of international legitimacy. The international community cannot stand idly by while a country is above international law and enjoys impunity. Israel shoulders the full responsibility for the great destruction that the Gaza Strip has suffered from because of its continued aggression. It is also the responsibility of countries that has supported Israel with weapons and funds, that has provided Israel with political protection. We rely on peace-loving nations to end this war, to end this aggression, and to provide support and relief to the residents of the Gaza Strip. Everyone must recognize, Israel particularly, that security cannot be achieved with endless wars as long as occupation stands. A peace that is based on justice, this will achieve security and stability for all. History has taught us that our region will not enjoy stability without the establishment of an independent Palestinian state along the lines of June 4th, 1967, with East Jerusalem as its capital, to live in security and peace with its neighbors. Ladies and gentlemen, an international resolution to grant Palestine full membership at the United Nations under these dark circumstances, and as the war of full destruction continues against the Gaza Strip and its residents. This international resolution would be a rejection to aggression. It would insist on respecting international law, human rights, and the right of the Palestinian people to live in freedom and dignity. This is the perfect time, ladies and gentlemen, for the international community and your council to shoulder their political, legal, and moral responsibilities towards the just Palestinian cause. and the right of the Palestinian people to freedom and independence, so that the principles of justice and peace can prevail. I trust that you will stand with the Palestinian justice. I thank you.
I thank